Let's record. Hey, what's good? Welcome to Platform Sync. I'm doing it. So we'll do it my way, all right? First of all, I just want y'all to say hi. Let's do some status updates, okay? Me first. Um, I know I have a lot of things in flight. I have my RFC, which I'm rewriting. It's in draft mode, but if y'all could take a look, it's pretty digestible. It's really just the RFC, but it's not really interactive. It's just, you know, pack build shows a bunch of funny terminal things, and then the exit set. That's all it is, as we discussed the last time. Other than that, just some little stories here or there. I know Javier responded to my life cycle issues, and that's about it. Maybe we can get into the details later if it's important. Cool. Next on my screen is Big T, Terrence.
I don't have too many updates, especially not related to the platform, but I did start the Buildpack authors sub-team RFC. So excited to kind of see that going, and I think there'll be definitely some overlap with this team in Pack, especially with the create command, and figuring out kind of how to divide responsibility or contributions into Pack that this team will maintain for a good amount of that stuff. So hope that goes through.
Thanks.
Super excited about that. It'll be good.
Awesome. Next on my screen is Javier.
All right. Let's see what's relevant to this meeting. Been working on creating, similar to like ImageUtil supports the daemon image and a remote image. I've been creating an interface implementation for OCI layout, right? And the purpose of this is to enable the build kit proposal that we have where the lifecycle and build kit will interact using OCI layout, so like file system OCI images. I did find that we're gonna need the run image to also be exported out by build kit and consumed by the lifecycle in OCI layout format. So there's that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I'll probably be focused on that for quite a bit to get it off the ground.
Sounds good. Daniel?
Yeah. So I guess between this and the last meeting, I did some work around the platform APIs, just like particularly around issues and making sure that you can kind of figure out what issues tie to what platform release. Right now we kind of support everything. Oh, I guess actually we don't. We support everything after platform API 02, I believe, which seems like something we want to keep doing. It's not too difficult. And I guess other than that, been working on trying to enable Pack to work with some of these enterprise configurations where they have a proxy registry so that they're not hitting Docker Hub thousands and thousands of times. That's going pretty well.
I did have a question about that, and I'm not sure if we need to go like too much into depth, but aren't there certain images that lifecycle itself does a lookup where it wouldn't do the transformation for the proxy? And this might be, specific to your implementation of it, but what I was thinking about is it does like a run image lookup based on the run image mirrors available, and it kind of picks a run image on its own, the lifecycle does, and at that point it wouldn't have this again transformation happen. So I don't know if you explicitly have to pass in the appropriate run image mutated, right? And I don't know if you've thought about that, or that's something that we need to look into.
Yeah. So there's like, it will be a little awkward, right? Because ideally, most of these things are like, most of these registry or proxy registries you can't push to, right? They're just for like pull through purposes. So if you're gonna have to pull through the run image and then re-upload it to a new registry, you want it to go through the proxy. But if you're uploading to something like Docker Hub or GGCR that already has a run image mirror, you don't want to change the name at all because you just want the registry to be able to do a cross repo blob mount. But yeah, I'll definitely have to do something for the like streaming down in the case when we don't have a run image mirror.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
All right. Yo, thank y'all for the status updates. Moving on. Did we already cover release planning, or do we want to speak more on it?
I mean, I don't know if there's too much to say. We've got a milestone of a release, I think, starting in about 1 week. Or no, 1 week from Monday. So there'll be a code freeze.
Okay. Quick question. So I know I'm working on a story to bump the life cycle. Is that something we want to squeeze into the next release, or we don't care?
I think we'd probably want to, right? And so I think the call out here is if we're going to code freeze on Monday, we probably want to throw in everything by end of week.
Okay. Thank you for spelling it out for people like me. We good here on release planning? All right. Let's talk about some things that need some discussions, okay? I'm gonna share my screen and we will see that there's nothing. There's nothing here that needs discussion.
Really? How is that possible?
We need more users.
Let's move on to the next one. RFCs. Sorry, give me a second. Just trying to, make things safer work here. All right, we have oh, interesting. So oh, I see. So things we have to be labeled platform. So we have this interaction mode. Again, like we said last time, I want this to be not looked at, I guess, or be disregarded. There is sort of another draft in its place that doesn't have the label. I don't know if someone can put the label on it for me. That'd be appreciated, but that's supposed to be the replacement for this one. Sounds good.
What label do you need on that?
Label platform.
And probably the subteam RFC label as well.
Yeah, this one.
Okay,
160.
for the new one.
Yeah. Okay, sounds good. Pack cache options. This one is in final comments.
Ends of
Right.
one, was that 7 days ago? So that could go in today. We didn't get any objections.
Okay. Powers that be, do your thing. Steve, Steve,
All
good
right,
luck.
could you assign that to me?
Okay.
Or actually, I don't know if you can. Maybe Terrence can.
Assign pack cache to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can merge that in.
It's assigned to Steven. Do you want me to unassign him?
It doesn't matter.
Probably. I feel the likelihood of it getting done if it's assigned to Steven is not very high right now.
Yeah. We do want to say for valid reasons, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hopefully that's going on. Last one, the application mixes is still in draft. Oof. I'm out of the loop on this one. Sorry.
I feel like this is going to be in draft probably until Stack Packs gets much further along, and then it affects kind of the platform team once the lifecycle stuff kind of goes through is the impression I get. I don't think Joe, as far as I know, Joe's not actively working on this RFC, which is why it's in draft.
Sorry, can we get like cliff notes on what this is supposed to do? Application developers can specify mixins. So the build pack is going to verify that the mixins of the app as well. In addition to the stack, right?
If I'm not mistaken, the way I understood this is based on quote unquote mix-ins that you could add during the build process, it would actually install stuff for you, right? So like that example right there with FFmpeg, if you as an application developer need FFmpeg, you could add this build mixin FFmpeg. And if the stack supports installing it for you, like the stack build packs, I would assume, then it would install it for you so that you have it available for your application. Does that make sense? So instead of like, as of right now, like everything has to be already installed in your stack, right?
No, it makes sense. It makes complete sense.
yeah,
I
yeah.
just, I'm wondering the difference in behavior here, right? Like normally you'd expect your, I don't know, your packaging system to declare all these things for you, right? Like if you had Go, to me, this is just dependencies, right? I guess this is, we're thinking of this as different than application dependencies, and these are just, am I making sense here?
Yeah, but
Well-
so in Go, for instance, right, like your software dependencies are for Go itself. Like these are OS level dependencies,
Okay.
right? So like FFmpeg, it's not something that you could declare at the
Okay.
application level. You declare it at the OS level. Sorry, Terrence, I think I interrupted you.
Yeah, I was just gonna probably repeat what you said. Yeah, I think you alluded to this, but it does require, for this to function, does require a basically stack build pack that has root level access to be able to process this mixin. So if your builder does not have that and you put this in, it's not going to magically install FFmpeg in that example out of nowhere. So it is a thing like if you are, for instance, like a healthcare company, right? And you want to basically lock down and don't want your application devs to be able to install whatever packages, like it is a thing as a platform, that is managing that stack kind of has control over that. So that's why this is kind of dependent on all the kind of implementation lifecycle changes to support stack packs, to actually have stack packs that can process this. And this would be kind of the, I guess, platform side of supporting the ability for an application end user to kind of tie into a stack pack. Like you can have stack packs that do root level things that don't require mixins. But I think mixins was probably one of the big use cases for stack packs.
Okay. I completely dig. That was great. That was the missing piece for me. 100%. I will just say, as an outsider, newest outsider looking in, I think mixins originally, the stack mixins, the regular mixins, were probably the most confusing part. And some other thing called mixins is it's not going to help. Maybe the learning team can help us with the docs on that. All right. All right. We good on that. Hopefully we good on all the RFCs. Moving on to agenda items. From last sync, we need to have a support model for platform APIs.
Yeah. I think the easiest thing for me to do is say we're going to support everything until we start needing to deprecate stuff. There was like an idea thrown out last time about doing like an N-1 or N-2 support model, which would like, when we axe a bunch of supported platform APIs. If we did that, I don't know what other people's thoughts are.
So yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. I do wonder, like this specifically is calling out platform APIs, but the one that I was really more concerned about were other APIs, specifically project descriptor, right? Which I think is like in a way worse state right now. So I wonder, if there's a way to depict that as well, right? Or in the same location where we would depict the platform API support. And
Okay,
I don't know what
interesting.
other APIs there are, but like Builder is going to be an API as well, right? And so like, again, I envision somewhere, right? Like we would have like all the APIs and then the listed versions of their support. Just so that, again, we could track and then point people to like, okay, so this is supported, or this is why your stuff doesn't work, right? Because we've deprecated this old version of the builder.
Yeah, I mean, the builder probably is a interesting discussion of itself because the API version's not going to be 100% compatible with what Pack is doing today with builder.
Yep.
But I don't want to kind of sidetrack your original discussion, so maybe we can come back to that after.
So, I mean,
Hmm.
I guess I wonder, Dan, I know that this is something, I guess, on your plate, but if there's anything that we can do to better like track all this stuff, right? Like it doesn't have to be you, like maybe just formulate a place where we could do this and then we could all collaborate to putting all this information in there.
Yeah, okay. That sounds good. I guess like I don't think we have, do we have builder? We don't have builder API. We have some stuff that isn't versioned right now, right? And I feel like figuring out how to version that stuff is like maybe the first thing. I can set something up and start keeping track of this somewhere, but it's just like, yeah, what is the first step?
Yeah, so I think that's why the platform API was a really good first step. And, thank you for going through that effort. But like, making that statement was like the first one because that one's easy. That one is already predefined. Project descriptor, I think, would be the second one because we do have an 01 version and we have the 02 version that's about to be released. And then builder is like kind of looking into the future where there's going to be a new version or a version of it at some point. Are there any other APIs that I'm overlooking? Buildpack registry, that's a thing, right? Pack does support a Buildpack registry 01 right now.
How do you, I guess, like, what do we want the end user experience? Like, how does that get communicated? Like, once we kind of collate, is it just like in the release notes for each thing? Or what is the plan in your head?
I think that's what I don't know, right? Like, I think that's the thing where I was kind of maybe hoping, Dan, you could propose a couple areas where we can do it. Release notes does sound like a pretty good place, right? But there might be others as well. But I definitely don't think this is like a end user, right? Like an app developer kind of thing. But then again, it might be depending on like the builder, like how bad they land into this point in time where the builder that they're using isn't supported, right? Like pointing them to release notes might not be the most appropriate place. So it's almost like a thought experiment at this point. But the first thing, again, is like just putting it somewhere, right? And then from there, we could kind of figure out exactly where the best place may be.
Sounds good.
I'm just gonna put this in here. Just want to be clear, explicit about next steps on this asset packages PR. I know it's sort of looking ready to review for quite a while. I was just hoping maybe we could say some yes, no's, maybe no's as far as when the review is gonna.
Where are you looking at? I don't see that in the either agenda
It
or your screen.
it's not an agenda item. This is just off the top.
All right. Off the top, could you repeat your question?
So there's Dan's asset caches PR, which I think is ready to review. And I know it's a big PR, but I was wondering, like, as opposed to just letting it linger there, like what do we think next step should be?
For me as a maintainer, I'm looking for the spec changes to be merged in if they haven't already. Last I heard, they were not. Is that a true statement or am I missing something?
Yeah, there are some spec changes that haven't been merged in. I guess the thing is that like this actual the places where this PR requires anything that to be done to the spec is extremely small. Right. And in fact, because all this would be experimental, we would have to wait for like a life cycle release anyways,
Mhm.
to like use things, I guess the way that they should probably be used at the very end of this, but like that won't change any of what's been done in this PR, if that makes sense. Essentially, the thing we're missing is an environment variable.
Right,
That's it.
okay. I think that makes sense. It's refreshing my memory too. I think we did say that because it's experimental, right? Like it could probably be merged in. I guess the point where the spec matters is when we want to try to take it out of experimental. Like at that point, the spec should be merged in, and then it kind of ties into this, cataloging of what APIs we support, and this one would be another one that we would add there as officially supported. So I haven't looked at that. I was kind of hoping, maybe wishful thinking that David would look at that. Has he voiced or reviewed that PR?
Do not think he has. Nope.
Cool. Yeah, I guess, Dan, do you mind adding that sort of statement, what I just said, like, because this is experimental, we don't want to wait for the spec changes to be finalized. And then once we do want to make it non-experimental, that's when we'll have the spec changes done.
Yeah.
Put
Yeah, I
that
think that
on
there's
the-
like,
Sorry, go ahead.
I think there's a comment in there that kind of outlines like what all the compatibility is and where things are right now. And how we would move things forward once the specification is merged and how we could like
Okay.
make this kind of like a more smooth transition.
I should probably pull it up because I'm just talking out of thin air. And then last but not least, could you ping David and ask him to review?
Will do.
Okay. How we feeling on this one? We have action items. We can move on. Okay. Last one. I just wanted to talk about this RFC really quickly. I'm sure nobody's had a chance to look at it yet, which is completely fine, right? I just wanted you, as always, to just hear it in person, right? Before you read another document on the internet. I just wanted to show, like, at a high level what it is, and I'm not expecting any statements, just like, red flags or something to chew on. Is that okay? I'm gonna share my screen. So, I mean, for the most part, it's pretty similar, right? That's why I wanted to do this. I just wanted to show the differences for the most part. So let's say you, on the command line, you do build with your image name and interact -I or whatever. So, there's a pulling phase, and then, there's a detecting whenever, let's say, the pulling finishes. That's the idea. And then it's automatically building at this point. But here's like some places that need to be filled in. I need my SHA and stuff filled in. When the build finishes, all this information gets filled out. I get my little check marks, and then I control C out of it. That is the bulk of this RFC, right? Maybe other things can come forward, but like that's all we're going for here. So there's 4 things. One is when I'm I'll put this in RFC too, right? One is when I'm pulling, right? When I show all these cool pulling things, which reminiscent of Docker. Another is when I'm detecting, which, detecting, presumably this stuff would stop and you wouldn't see any of this, but it would just say, hey, I'm detecting. So, as a user, I know something's happening for me. And then there's when I'm building, this is what it looks like when I'm building. The logs are going, this is what it looks like with the image name I put in. And then when it's succeeded, I have a little timestamp when my image was built, which actually I don't even know if we can do this. I think we don't set a create that timestamp. So
41 years ago. Is that what you're gonna?
Okay, that was my bad. But this is the gist. And I don't know. Again, not expecting any comments right now. Just chew on it, and next time you look at the RFC or something.
Okay. Yo, looks good. I guess this sounds like from the conversation that we had last time, this is the like next thing that you'd like to see go through. Is that or like kind of like a smaller chunk of the overall idea in the first piece?
That's right.
Okay.
This is the smallest version I can think of getting the user workflow in mind.
Yeah. So maybe I'm missing something on this, but it seemed to me like when we talked about this last time that the consensus was we definitely want to do this. It seems like we're at the point now where in order to start implementing something that does this, we need to have an RFC to get like just the base level of like we can pause in between these steps. Am I wrong there? And that in behavior in itself was going to require an RFC, which is why we wanted to just like split that out, because there will probably need to be some discussion just about how we go about implementing that.
No, you're not wrong. That's my understanding too. To me, but I thought that was going to be a follow-up RFC, right? If this thing gets through, makes it in, right, then we can add the, hey, I'm pausing. I get to pause it as a user. I get to click the build button over and over and over again, right? That is, to me, is I believe, right, as we discussed, that's the second RFC that doesn't exist yet that will come after this.
Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. I'm good on that. That's all I wanted to do, just to share out. We have the Latin sensation Juan with us. Do you have any comments you wanted to put in?
Not right now. On this, on the video that you just showed?
No,
No.
just in case
On
you wanted
anything?
to. Yeah, in case you wanted to.
No.
Okay, does anybody have anything that they want to say before we close it out early?
Yeah, I do. Just real quick. This is definitely probably a stretch, but I just wanted to kind of maybe throw it out there for some thinking. But has there been any thought? I know, Dan, you had some work that you did previously with Dive, kind of being interactive, inspect utility. And then we're gonna have this other UI. Like, how are those two, or how are these two things going to like marry, right? And again, I feel like I'm kind of jumping a little bit forward, but I feel like the implementation might not align as well as we would want if we think of them as completely separate things.
Yeah. So I can give some background just on, so I worked like quite a bit on this like dive thing. And I'm not super confident that this is going to be pulled in by the maintainer, just since it basically most of the PR is adding a windowing system, right, to this tool. So you're not just picking squares on the screen and printing to it. It's adding like a communication component so that different things can have this process where they decide how much of the screen real estate they're going to take up, where they're going to be. And it involves a big rewrite. And I don't think this person is super interested in actually reviewing it, unfortunately, just since it changes their code base a bunch.
Cool. So then is it safe enough to say that we should look to implementing our own essentially, and especially with maybe some of the stuff that Anthony does, right? And just use that as the quote unquote UI. I don't know, what are you using, Anthony, for the UI stuff?
I'm actually using the same library that Dive is. I think it's
Okay,
pretty standard for Golang at this point, but
cool.
Yeah.
So then like
Wait.
it would be a lot of that, right? For us as far as the visual goes, the UI interaction, that could all be using the same thing. And then the actual bits of like how the commands are done and what things we could do, we could just use Dive as an inspiration, but like re-implement it ourselves. What do you think, Dan?
I mean, I feel like we could do this. I think that the like thing that Anthony Revo T view looks like the thing that you're advocating, and that's basically what I did the rewrite of dive in, right? It's like
Cool.
so I think there's most of the like extra windowing functionality we would need is probably already written. Since
Cool. So then it seems like we're actually more aligned than I guess I would have feared. So that's really good. So yeah, it's unfortunate that we can't get into Dive maybe the best way that we can, but yeah, I mean that functionality should be pretty good to have as well for the inspect. I think it's valuable.
okay. I think we're good. We ran out of items. I'll let everyone go. Thanks, thanks so much for attending.